welcome to the All Time Stories channel. Of course, Scandinavian myths are primarily the mythology of the Vikings, kings and leaders. However, among the Norman warrior husbands there are also female images. The participation of female characters in military cults from the great life of the Vikings becomes clear if we remember that the main assistants of the supreme god Odin were warrior maidens. But what are fearless red-haired horsewomen? Beautiful divine creatures or cruel and merciless warriors? Let's figure it out. Most often Valkyries are depicted riding a horse in armor with shields and spears, and the helmets on their heads are decorated with horns or wings. According to legends, moisture, frost and dew ooze from the manes of the Valkyries' horses, and the shine of the rider's armor causes the northern lights to appear in the sky. Scandinavian mythology describes a period when the gods led an open life and had full dominion over the earth. At that moment, stories about unusual and courageous girls began to emerge. Initially, according to legends, all Valkyrie maidens were described as cruel and bloodthirsty angels of death who fed on the suffering of dying warriors and enjoyed bloody battles. However, over time, the idea of them changed, and they acquired new, brighter and lighter features. The name Valkyrie came for a reason. The word Valkyrie is translated from Old Icelandic as chooser of the slain. This is what the dashing red-haired horsewomen did. Here too, not everything is so simple. The fact is that the Valkyries carried out the will of Odin because, according to the sagas, Valkyrie ladies are mentioned as daughters of the supreme god. They were devoted to him, and for them carrying out their father's instructions was the most important task. So, while everyone else was breaking their axes and spears on the enemy's armor, the Valkyries hovered over the battlefield, and when the battle came to an end, the warriors picked up the dead bodies of those who fought most fiercely and bravely. After the massacre, the chosen Valkyries, who said goodbye to worldly life, were taken directly to Asgard and joined the company of the same fearless warriors. The great warriors were located directly in Valhalla, in the Hall of Odin. There the Valkyries accompanied the warriors and presented them with horn honey as a treat, a drink that was considered intoxicating. Knowing the customs of real Viking squads, who were accompanied by women on campaigns, we can assume that the Valkyries not only served the heroes at the table. The Valhalla maidens were more like concubines of the Muslim paradise, because there too, those who fell in the holy war were supposed to enjoy the afterlife. Therefore, most likely, having given the Vikings plenty of honey, the Valkyries moved on to other pleasantries. In ancient sources of Scandinavian literature there is no mention of Valkyries taking direct part in battles, but one day they will have to draw their swords and go to the last war, Ragnarok. There the Valkyries, side by side with the Aesir and Einherji, will fiercely fight against the hordes of the fire god Loki, Hel and the flaming army of the giant Surt. Valkyries were special creatures. No race could compare with them in martial arts. Myths say that they were not inferior even to werewolves, and only death could stop such a girl, because they were not sensitive to pain. According to other versions, warriors always remained immortal and forever young. Based on data from various myths, Valkyries had enormous strength, which manifested itself in excellent vision, allowing her to see by the moon and stars, the ability to swim, master any fighting techniques and all types of weapons, as well as resistance to magical diseases and spells. Valkyries often chose noble heroes from the human world as lovers, but from marriage with an ordinary man, the warriors lost their immortality and their superhuman strength. For example, Valkyrie Brunhilde in the Song of the Nibelungs, after marrying a mortal, lost her magical powers. In part, the warrior maidens descended from elves and other superhuman beings, but most of them were the daughters of noble kings and leaders, whom the gods endowed with incredible strength and supernatural abilities. Valkyries are often confused with Norns, goddesses of fate who spin the thread of life at the well. This probably comes from the fact that, by their influence on victory, the Valkyries also in some way hold the fate of people in their hands. According to various sources, in the mythology of the Scandinavians, there were 9, 13, and even 27 such fighting friends. Valkyries did not get their names for their beautiful eyes. Each of the names meant something special, capable of giving an accurate description of its owner. The most well-known names and meanings of such Valkyries are Gel, the hearer; Geir, the spear; Dun, the battle; Mist, the misty; Randgrid, the breaker of shields; Ragenleaf, the rider of the storm. The Valkyries were not spared the worldview of the Slavic people. Warrior maidens also enjoyed great respect among distant ancestors. They were described as goddesses accompanying fallen heroes to the gardens of Iria. They were depicted with swan or silver wings. It was believed that the last thing the dying warrior heard was the swan song of the Valkyrie, which notified the gods of the appearance of a new bright soul for the kingdom of the dead. The Slavs treated the sign of the Valkyrie with special respect, which personified wisdom and justice. It represents 4 repeating runes G8 movement, and runes P, a sign of death. Images of the Valkyrie are found in literature, fine art, and architecture. Why not? Even an asteroid discovered in 1917 is named Valkyrie. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your thoughts in the comments and give it a thumbs up. See you soon.